Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to share our expenses that we accrued over a month of full-time travel. This month, we did much more moving around than is typical for us, as we usually stay 1 month in one location. We began the month with the remaining 5 nights of our stay in Nha Trang, Vietnam. From there, we traveled to Phu Quoc Island, Vietnam, where we spent 8 nights at a great beach resort, followed by 8 nights in Ho Chi Minh City. From there, we flew to Singapore and spent 4 nights before flying to Europe with a 4-night stopover in Istanbul. On the 30th, I flew from Istanbul to Venice to meet some family, spending the night in a hotel there. In this video, I'll break down all of our expenses by category as well as ones that were significant. At the end, I'll compare our June expenses with the previous 5 months of the year. We hope this will give you an idea of what it costs for a couple to travel full-time. Check out our previous budget video to see what we spent for 1 month in Vietnam. Let's start by taking a look at our housing costs. As mentioned, we started the month in the coastal city of Nha Trang, Vietnam, where we have been staying since mid-May. Our Airbnb was in a high-rise right next to the beach and was an excellent value. The remaining 5 nights of our stay here cost $107.85. We then took a flight to the island of Phu Quoc, which is located just off the southern coast of Vietnam. We stayed at the Crown Plaza Phu Quoc Star Bay, which is a beautiful resort right on the beach. We used our IHG points to cover our stay, which is only 107,000 points. Since we used points that we bought through a 100% bonus offer for points purchases with our IHG card, the total cost of our 8-night stay was only $535. From Phu Quoc, we took a 1-hour flight to Ho Chi Minh City, where we stayed 8 nights in the Hotel Indigo Saigon in the city, which is a brand new hotel that has only been open since the beginning of the year. It was a very impressive hotel in an excellent part of town with a fantastic rooftop pool. We again used our IHG points for our stay, which was 145,000 points at a cost of $725 to purchase the points. Ho Chi Minh City was the last stop on our 3-month tour of Vietnam, and from there we took a flight to Singapore, where we stayed at the Holiday Inn Express Clarke Quay for 4 nights. We also used our IHG points here, which was 78,000 points for the stay, at a cost of $390 with the points purchase bonus. Singapore ended our 7 months in Southeast Asia, and we flew to Istanbul, Turkey to begin our European adventures. We stayed for 4 nights at the Holiday Inn Istanbul Old City, and the stay was 54,000 points at a cost of $270. We've definitely gotten good value with IHG and really enjoyed our stays at their properties, especially using our IHG credit card. If you'd like to check it out, there's a link in the description to an offer that comes with a sizable points bonus. As mentioned, I flew to Venice to meet family on the 30th and spent 1 night at Hotel Kete near St. Mark's Square for a total cost of $229.90. So our total cost for the housing for the month of June was $2,257.75, or $37.63 per person per night. For our travel cost, we accrued some hefty expenses due to having multiple flights, along with the long-distance flight from Singapore to Istanbul. Our first flight from Nha Trang to Phu Quoc on Vietnam Airlines was $236.80. Our flight from Phu Quoc to Ho Chi Minh City, also on Vietnam Airlines, was $145.32. Our flight from Ho Chi Minh City to Singapore on Singapore Airlines cost $301.28. Our largest flight costs were the long-distance flight we took on Etihad Airlines from Singapore to Istanbul with a layover in Abu Dhabi. For this flight, we found some reasonably priced business class seats with the airline, and since we would be traveling over 2 hours on 2 flights, we decided this would be an expense that we could absorb, and we booked them. The cost for both flights was $3,523.98. The last flight of the month was the one I took from Istanbul to Venice on Turkish Airlines, which cost $277.78. For other travel costs, we continued to use Grab for our ride-sharing service, especially since it was so affordable in Vietnam. Our total expenditures for the month on Grab were $52.49. Because we had a number of flights this month, we also had to pay for taxis and drivers to and from the airports. The total expenditure for the month was $123.48 on those rides. In Venice, I rode the water bus from the airport into the city. The cost for my ticket was $21.16. We also rode public transportation in Singapore and Istanbul. The metro in Singapore cost $10.48, and we purchased a metro card to ride the tram in Istanbul that came to $39.43. Our total monthly travel cost came to $4,775.47, or an average of $79.59 per person per day. For our food and dining, we continued to eat out or order food in using Grab for almost every meal while we were in Vietnam. Because we were staying in hotels for the rest of the month after we left Nha Trang, we had to eat out for most of our meals anyway, although we did have complimentary breakfast at several of the hotels. For the month, we spent a total of $1,885.15 on dining out. We did very little grocery shopping other than a few breakfast items and snacks, so we only spent $69.79 on groceries. Our total food and dining for the month was $1,954.94, or an average of $32.58 per person per day. If you look at our entertainment expenses, we did take quite a few tours this month. One of those was a private tour of Phu Quoc Island, which included a stop to ride the world's longest overwater cable car. The tour, with a tip to our guide, was $102.17, and the cost of 2 tickets to ride the cable car was $58.52. In Istanbul, we also took a Bosphorus dinner cruise, which was $84.31. We also did a full-day guided tour of the city, which was $211.67. While in Nha Trang, we rode another overwater cable car to Vin Wonders, which is owned by the same company as the Phu Quoc cable car. Our tickets included the cable car ride and access to the animal park, gardens, and the giant skywheel. The cost for 2 tickets was $49.64. In Ho Chi Minh City, we went up to the sky deck of Patexo Tower for a 360-degree view of the city. The tickets for the sky deck were $18.43. While there, we also visited Independence Palace and the War Remnants Museum, which together cost $15.30 for admission. In Singapore, we visited many great sites, including the observation deck at the Marina Bay Sands. The tickets for it cost $38.18. We also visited Gardens by the Bay and went to 2 attractions there: the Skywalk and the Super Trees and the Cloud Forest, which cost $21.82 and $59.49 respectively. Because we didn't have a great pool at our Airbnb in Nha Trang, and because of some ongoing construction in the building, we decided to use some Marriott points to stay a night at the Sheraton down the street. We got an upgrade to a very luxurious suite, spent a lot of time enjoying the pool, and had a drink and some food at its rooftop bar. Because we used points, I calculated the cost of the stay as if I had purchased the points directly through Marriott. So the stay for one night was 25,000 points, which would have cost $240.38 to purchase. We put the stay under entertainment because we already had an accommodation, so we treated it more as something we did for enjoyment rather than another one. It was a phenomenal hotel, and we really enjoyed our mini getaway. Our total cost for entertainment for the month was $899.91, or a per person daily average of $15. Our discretionary category was higher than previous months. We had the usual medications and toiletries that we purchased at pharmacies, which came to $62.93. We also purchased some new clothing, including new shoes for me, which totaled $115.01. Dana also got a spa treatment with a mani-pedi and a massage in Nha Trang that came to $69.22 with tip. Lastly, because we stayed in so many hotels, we either had to pay to self-wash our clothes or pay for laundry service. We also bought stamps to mail postcards and picked up a few small souvenir items. These costs totaled $45.94. The total of our discretionary expenses for the month came to $293.10, or $4.86 per person per day. Lastly, let's look at our recurring monthly costs, which are pretty consistent. Our health insurance premium with Cigna Global was $383.50. Our storage unit in the US was $121, and our cell phone plan was $181.87. Our subscriptions for our streaming services total $97.64. The total of our recurring monthly cost was $784.01. Our monthly expenses were significantly higher than the previous months of the year, specifically for travel, coming in at $10,965.18 or $182.75 per person per day. Now I'll compare this month's expenses to the previous 5 months of the year, which have been spent entirely in Southeast Asia. Our accommodations for this month were significantly higher than the previous months, at an increase of 83%. This can be attributed to the cost of staying in hotels 25 nights during the month, which are typically more expensive than our Airbnb accommodations, and because the average for the previous months was due to the low cost of Airbnbs in Southeast Asia. We do expect this monthly average to be higher than the first 5 months once we arrive in Europe, where accommodations are more expensive. Our largest increase was in our travel, where we saw it rise 889%, which was somewhat due to the amount of travel we had this month, but largely because we booked the business class seats on Etihad for our flights to Istanbul. This is a very atypical month of travel for us, and I don't expect many other months like it. Our food costs were up by 13%, which can again be attributed to more hotel stays that necessitated eating out for meals more frequently instead of preparing meals at an Airbnb. The affordability of eating out in Vietnam definitely helped keep this closer to our monthly average. Our entertainment expenses also rose significantly this month by 141% over the previous months, which was attributable to the stay at the Sheraton Nha Trang and the high number of tours we took this month. In the other expenses category, we saw our expenses drop by 33%, which can be attributed to lower costs in Vietnam, and because the monthly average is skewed from the extensive health screenings we had done in February when we were in Kuala Lumpur. If you remove the health screenings, our other costs were up 25% over the previous monthly average, mostly due to the shoes and clothing purchases we made. These were all very affordable in Southeast Asia and thus were a good opportunity to retire some of our worn out items. Our recurring monthly expenses went down slightly by just over 4%. These costs are normal and in line with our monthly average. Overall, our expenses for the month were up double by a monthly average of 116%. Although our costs for this month were exceptionally high, I do see this month as a bit of an outlier. The purchase of the business class seats on Etihad Airlines was an exorbitant expense, although a good value at the price. But we do not have any other flights for the foreseeable future where we would spend that much on an airline ticket. Next month's cost breakdown will cover a full month in Antalya, Turkey. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see future episodes of our full-time travel costs.